in February 2009, I collapsed one evening, and I was rushed to the hospital, and I was so weak, but I was conscious. Now, the doctor said it was dangerous to fly me to our national capital, Accra, for treatment, and that they had to stabilize. My pressure had gone so high. And when it was a bit better, they asked for a medical evacuation. I was flown to our teaching hospital in Accra, called Kolebu Teaching Hospital. There, I was diagnosed as having stroke. But what surprised the doctors was that I was awake, and from the CD scan, it turned out to be serious stroke, yet I was talking. But I was weak, and my walking wasn't well coordinated. On a smooth floor, I walked as if I fell in potholes. And then they referred me to the neurosurgeon department to evacuate the blood clots in my brain. The following week, when I was to be sent to the theater of the neurosurgeon department, they asked me to repeat the CD scan for them to know the status. And they were shocked. Most of the blood clots had dissolved and left the brain. And they also said my kidneys had totally collapsed. The only way I could survive was to be flown to South Africa for kidney transplant. Now, the day I was to be discharged, that was 16 days after my admission, they realized, they asked me to repeat the pelvic scan. And when the report came, they were shocked again. The kidneys were up and working. Now, what they did not know was that I had on me a magnetic bracelet. And so when I collapsed, it kept sending blood to my brain. That was the cause of the blood clots being dissolved and leaving. Then it also worked on my kidneys. Now, they are not trained on magnet therapy, so they couldn't have understood that this simple bracelet I wore did the trick. And so one, I did not go to the neurosurgeon theater. Two, I was not flown to South Africa. They discharged me, but asked me to remain in the city for a week and repeat the pelvic scan in a different laboratory for them to be sure, because it's a teaching hospital, they won't take chances. After a week, when they got the report, it was even better than the previous week's scan. So they asked me to go home, and their reviews I go for. And my health kept improving, and as I talk to you, I'm much, much more healthier than what happened. Indeed, people who saw me at the time I collapsed, Godfrey, he visited me at the hospital. They say there's a big difference. Those who never saw me wouldn't believe the story. This was a miracle that AMwell products did on me. Now, I have another story. One evening in December 2008, a friend came to me one cold December night and said he needed a bracelet urgently. I asked what it was. He said the brother had been rushed to hospital with high blood pressure at the regional hospital in Wa. So I got him the bracelet and followed later. And when I got there, the patient was unconscious. So it was difficult for me to talk to him to find out where the pains were to energize with the arm wand. But what I did was to energize water for them to mop the body. By the following morning, the eyes opened, and everybody was surprised in the hospital. In the evening, I went and energized his drinking water and fresh water for them to mop the body. By the third day, he started physiotherapy exercises, and every evening I went to energize his body and his drinking water and water for bathing. And after 1.5 weeks, he was discharged. But he had a bracelet on. After a few weeks, he was able to walk normally to the hospital, and all the nurses in the ward there were surprised. And it is a miracle of the Omega bracelets. And he survived, and he's looking normal. And he didn't go to any complicated operations or treatment, but just this simple bracelet that has done this wonderful job. Thank you.
Perfect. Super. That's it.